What's up? It's James from James Reptiles about a tripod, so that's cool. Today I want to talk about investment animals and why it's a good investment. Alright, so this is my African fat-tailed gecko. His name is Johnson. He's a patternless whiteout. This gecko is a lot of money. And I wouldn't recommend it as a pet, but as a really good investment. And the reason for that is the genetics behind it. So patternless is recessive and whiteout is co-dominant with a deadly superform. So if I bred this gecko to a het patternless gecko, what you would get is het patternless whiteout, het patternless, patternless, and patternless whiteout. And what you really want is a patternless whiteout. Which what you're getting is a 1 in 4. So one egg out of every 2 clutches roughly is going to be this gecko. And that's an $800 gecko. So if you bought this gecko from any gecko supplier, any wholesaler, any breeder, if you bought him adult size and you can breed him that year, that's the best thing you can do. So a gecko like this, it'll cost you $800, but you can make that money back so quick just by breeding it and knowing where to sell them. I'm going to put them back, and I'm going to get out another one of my geckos, a crested gecko, and I'll explain to you what my plans are for that one and how I'm going to make a bunch of money, because I'm going to be rich. Right? So this is my lily white crested gecko, and this gecko runs about $1,000. It's not super high expression, but it's not low end so much that you can't tell it's a lily white. And one of the reasons I got this gecko, one of the reasons I got this gecko is because it's an investment animal. This isn't something you get as a pet. I mean, you definitely could, and I've seen people buy expensive pets like that. But even though it's a baby, when I grow it up in a year and I breed it back, whether it's a male or a female, I'll breed it to my geckos. Quite jumpy little guy. I'll breed it back to my geckos, and half the babies will have the lily white gene, and I can sell those back into the market. I can keep them and make more, and those right there are your money makers. So you can't breed 2 together. You have to breed it to one without the gene, but that gene right there will fund all your other reptiles because it's so expensive right now. And of course you have to consider the market. As people breed them more and more, the demand goes down because there's more supply, and then the prices go down. But when I'm breeding this gecko in a year and a half, and it's putting out lily white babies, if I paid $1,000 for this gecko, a gecko this nice might still be selling for $800. I can sell 2, make my money back, and have like $600 left over to pay for, I don't know, going to a show or something. And of course, I would hold at least one of those back. I would hold as many as I can. I'd probably only sell 1 or 2 and hold the rest back. Because by the time these geckos, and you gotta think a lot about with like ball pythons, when a morph gets overproduced, like pied, when pieds first started selling in ball pythons, they were $25,000, $30,000 a piece. Now they're $350 because everyone has them. But if I can sell these geckos for $300 all day and I can have 20 of them on display, I'm still making a lot of money. And you're having a lot more customers at that point because it's more in that price range where people will buy it as just a pet. And those small time breeders who don't have as much money are willing to pay for it to get it into their breeding projects. Now, as a small time breeder or someone who wants to get into breeding, I would consider this animal a good investment. This is a reverse Okiji corn snake. And so that's 2 genes right there, but corn snakes don't actually sell for a lot. So these as babies, you can get them as cheap as $25. And that's not really a lot, so what you would want to do if you're trying to invest in this animal is probably buy adults so you don't have to wait and get a little bit of income coming back first. I imagine this is a good investment animal, and it's something that I like to work with just because it's really pretty and I wanted more snakes. But in my personal opinion, I wouldn't have bought this as an investment animal. An investment animal is something, in my opinion, it should be the most expensive animal you can buy within reason that is a good expression of that animal or that gene. That being the lily white, the patternless whiteout. You know, if you can spend $500, go spend $500 on the best leopard gecko. Don't buy one that you can just get for $500. Buy one that's maybe a little bit less. It's more common, but it's the best looking one you can get. Go and look at all of them. Go to all the websites and get the best looking animal you can get for $500. If you want to work with corn snakes and you have $20, get the best $20 corn snake you can find. Now, I wouldn't recommend that because a corn snake for $20, you won't be making a lot selling the babies. Corn snakes, I believe, take $14 or $15 to raise up till you get about 4 or 5 meals in them, is what people usually say. And I can't see corn snakes being a good investment unless you're working with palmettos. Palmettos are a really good investment. I believe they're recessive, and what it does is it whites the snake out and it gives them a red and orange kind of freckling, and as they get older, more of that comes in. And especially right now, those I seen a pair of hets. A pair of het palmettos go for $1,000, and those were related. And one problem with those is they have the big bug eyes. You can get them with the big bug eyes. It's totally random how big the bug eyes are going to be. You can buy 2 with the biggest bug eyes, and you can produce 0 bug eyes, and that's just you can buy 2 with the least amount of bug eye, and you can produce the biggest bug eyes you've ever seen. That's just how the gene works. Know how your gene works. Know the demand for it. Know what the supply is going to be by the time you're able to breed it, and get the best visual for your price. All right, so investment animals aside, we're gonna check up on these eggs that I put away in my last video. Now, if you watched that or you didn't watch that, this was a new incubation medium I've never used before that my buddy uses. Let's go over what I put on the lid. So they were put away 6/22. That was 2 days ago. Was that 2 days ago? What was yesterday? 6/23? I guess so. Correct. 6/22. The dad was 1801. The mom, I don't know, but it's one of 2. Unfortunately, one's really nice and one's not as nice. I think I know. I think it was the not as nice one. I want more eggs from the nice one, is what I'm saying. But let's point you down this way. I got these 2 eggs. They're looking pretty good. The substrate didn't hold them as well as I wanted to. That might have been just I didn't push them as hard. The substrate's not as loose as I kind of want it to be, and I'm not sure if that's because it's too wet, but I did go through and I candled them the other day, and I made sure the embryos were up and I marked them, and they're looking good. And I was unsure at first about this tiny container because I have a pair of fat tail eggs in one of these inside the incubator, but I put this right on top. I have a tiny hole in the middle, and it's working well for me so far. Alright, so someone asked me about an update on my rats. So the first litter I had, this is one of the 3 babies I have left. The rest are either sold, or some of you won't like this snake food. This one, his name is Fitz. He's going to be one of the ones I'm keeping as a pet. I got Fitz, Goose, and I got one other male. Doesn't have a name. He's also hairless. He's not as hairless. He's the I don't know what it's called. He's the other kind where they get the hair and they lose it. Goose is a single Rex. His mom is doing that weird thing some of the hairless rats do with their heads turned sideways. So I figured out the genetics behind the parents. The pair I bought were double Rex. The second mom I bought was hairless. That's why she had so many health problems. That's why half the babies came out single Rex from one of the litters. And that's why Goose is single Rex. Goose is Rex, het hairless, which is not going to matter. I'm not going to breed him down the road. But that's why he has so much hair. I'll get him out for you and show you what I mean. Ooh. So this is the single Rex. And compared to like a normal rat, these are really fluffy and their hair is kind of curly. You get if it'll focus. See, it's kind of got like a wave going on. These guys are really cuddly, and their hair is just so cute. It's it's crazy how it makes them so soft just because the hair's a little bit curly, and the double Rex makes them that almost hairless, and the hairless makes them like a naked rat. So with the almost hairless, the double Rex, they do have a little bit of fuzz, and some of them are known to lose the hair in the summer when it gets hot, and they'll grow it back in the winter when they think they need it, almost like a husky. Alright, if you like that, if that was informative, leave a like, subscribe, hit me up on Instagram, James Jeptiles, Twitter, James Jeptiles, jamesjeptiles@gmail.com, and James Welter on Facebook. I gotta make a Facebook page for James Jeptiles. Maybe when I get my business license, that'll be a thing.